You have to hustle. You have to have grit. What the heck does grit mean?
Whether you're in a product-based business or a service-based business, grit is what's going to get you to where you want.
Get your hands dirty.
Get your hands dirty.
Hi, I'm Faisal Karmali. Welcome to Karmali Exchange. Business owners need to help each other out. Keep on pushing to meet the needs of the customer will meet the needs of the business. Welcome to Karmali Exchange, and I have with me today Zahra Al-Harazi. She's a CEO, creative director, author. She's Woman Entrepreneur of the Year by Chatelaine Magazine, one of the most powerful women in Canada by the Women's Executive Network, amongst a whole bunch of other awards and accolades, multi-business owner. This is one person that I've been trying to get on my show for so many years, and I'm glad that she's here. Zahra, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Faisal. It's great to finally meet in person.
Zahra and I have been connected for a long time on social media platforms, and we've been in conversation at times. We've been commenting on each other's posts at times. And this person that I have in front of us, when you think about the journey, and let me set this up, you're in a country, Uganda, you get kicked out, basically, out of a country. You go to another country, Yemen. You have to build and rebuild from there. You then come to a country like Canada.
Oh my God, Canada is the greatest country in the world. I am so proud of who I am and where I'm from. I always joke about being a mutt because I was born in Uganda. My father's from Yemen, but my mother's from India. My grandmothers are Persian and Burmese, and so I'm a little bit of everything. But Canada, I honestly do not believe that I would have achieved the level of success that I did anywhere other than Canada, and specifically Calgary. It was just a different atmosphere. People are, I was a nobody immigrant from nowhere, and I would send people emails and say, can you teach me how to do this? Or I heard that you're really good at this. Like, can I buy you a coffee? Nobody ever said no to me. They gave me the time, the patience, the learning I needed. They were willing to trust and invest in me. And I just feel like there was opportunity that I might not have got anywhere else.
What I really want to get into is the parts of your journey. You had some key pieces like it takes hunger, it takes grit, so on and so forth. Let's kind of dig into those pieces if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Building my first company is very, very different than building my current company. And I talk a lot about the different traits that we need in order for success. But, the thing is, they're not set in stone. So when I talk about grit and hunger and different things, they actually change with time. With my first company, I was hungry for knowledge and information because I was a new immigrant. And despite the fact that my English is good, I don't have that much of an accent. It's because for a couple of years in my childhood, I went to the American school. So I developed an accent, but I still had the same knowledge base that everybody else did when I first came to Canada. So I was hungry for information, for knowledge. I was missing big gaps in my knowledge of popular culture and how things work, what entrepreneurship is, how to read a balance sheet, a lot of things that people kind of intuitively understand when they grow up in the West. And so it was a very different process than now. But grit is, I talk about grit a lot, and I learned that from my mom. My mom was one of the first women to drive and work in Yemen. And, watching her kind of helped me develop my own boldness and bravery and feeling of, being confident. And so I think it's important to think about who you are, what you want, what's going to push you to get over the finish line to where you want to go, and actually really double down on a lot of those traits consciously.
So Zahra, when you talk about grit, I think a lot of people hear that word. They don't really understand what it means. I think when it comes down to it, we always say you have to have a little bit more grit. Both you and I started from scratch, built something that we are very proud of. However, when we look back at others and we say, okay, based on what I've done in my journey, you have to hustle, you have to have grit. What the heck does grit mean?
Read Angela Duckworth's book, Grit. It's a fantastic book, and one of the quotes I love that I actually use from her book is, she's like, let me tell you what grit is not. Grit is not your talent and your ability. right? And your knowledge. Grit isn't those things. Grit is this deep down desire, this in your gut feeling of wanting something and then willing to get your hands dirty and go after it. Like, being bold, being strong, being willing to fail, that's what grit is, it's not this polished, I equate it to a suit versus a mechanic's uniform, right? That to me, that's grit.
Get your hands dirty.
Get your hands dirty. Be willing to go after what you want. Be willing to be wrong. Be willing to change. That to
And
me is what grit
most
is.
entrepreneurs today, I think it's about 72% from the data that I've read in Canada, are going to service-based businesses versus a product-based business. Now, when you talk to product-based business owners, they tell me grit means creating a better product and getting it out there. When it's a service-based business, people believe they just have to post stuff about how knowledgeable they are, how they can add value to a person's life, how they can solve their problem, and everybody will come to them. They're missing that grit factor. So for those entrepreneurs who believe that all you have to do is just market, promote, create a brand, that will be enough. What does grit have to do with a service-based business first?
Well, first of all, I don't think grit is a product. I don't think it's creating a better product and getting out there. I think grit is your values, your mission. I think it's more personal than that. Like, an inanimate object is not gritty, but human beings are, right? So grit is whether you're in a product-based business or a service-based business, grit is what's going to get you to where you want. Like most businesses hit this 7-year ceiling and then they don't go further than that. That's when most businesses fail. And part of the reason is we get either comfortable or scared or, and we don't have that same passion that we had in the beginning when you're a scrappy, startup entrepreneur. I have built both a service-based and a product-based business. My first business was service-based. It was an ad agency. My current business is a product, two-sided platform, and very, very different needs. But the passion, the desire, the need to succeed, to understand your customer, your client, what you build within your culture and your employees, those things don't change, whatever type of business you have.
Zahra, one thing that we don't screen for, and I'm really challenged with this, even when I hire people in my businesses, is that grit and hustle. How do you identify if someone has that hustle and grit that you need to have to be on your team, to be a successful entrepreneur? What are those key competencies that defines this person has hustle or this person has grit?
It's interesting. So most of us hire people that look like us. And I am not talking about physical features only. Like, certain people who come from an athletic background will hire mostly athletes because they understand them. They know that they share the same values. So in my first company, my business partner ran one side of the business, I ran the other side of the business, and we were having a little bit of struggle connecting. And so we all did this personality test called the Enneagram. Her side of the office, my side of the office. And it was really interesting because she was a peacemaker on her side and she only hired people who were peacemakers. And that was the account team. And they needed to be the ones to fight for the clients. Meanwhile, I was running the creative team and I hired hustlers. I hired people who were like racehorses, like stuck in a stable that just wanted to get out and run and go. And so my team like ran over the other side of the business, which was really interesting because it hurt our business a little bit because the creative team should be creative, but they should also answer to what the client wants. And so we had to adjust that because we figured that she needed to hire more people like me. I needed to hire more people like her. It was so eye-opening for us, for both me and her, to understand the team and how they work. And every time we hired someone, we made them do the Enneagram personality test, just so we knew who they were, because, it tells you how you are to work with, how you like to be communicated to, how you communicate. And so we just understood each other better. So I think yes, you should look for certain qualities, but you should also make sure you have a balanced office. There are some people that are the 50,000 foot level thinkers. There are some people that are, the people that just want to put their head down and do the work. And so understand your team, what your team needs, and make sure those personalities work together. And then you have everybody that are there that can make this business viable.
Let's move it up a notch. Now you've got an entrepreneur that's starting out their business or already is in a business at this point in time. And they don't know, they haven't done the testing to see what kind of person they are. And you have to do some self reflection to determine, are you a hustler? Are you that horse in the stable, or are you a peacemaker? How do you determine who you are? Or how do you reflect on yourself to determine what your strengths are and then leverage your strengths of others to help your business grow?
It's a process. It's honestly, entrepreneurship sounds so sexy, but it is such a learning process. Like when I first started my business, like I said, I was an immigrant, different background, different level of understanding. And where I came from, mental health was not a thing. Right.
Yeah.
Like if I ever said, that there's, like, my grandmother would slap me upside my head with a wooden stick. Right. And it wasn't a thing. So when I first came, and my partner suggested that we do this Enneagram personality test, because there was obviously conflict, because I always believe that if you think something's wrong with you, then something's wrong with you. So don't believe that something's wrong with you. And my partner suggested the Enneagram test. And I was like, not impressed by that. To me, this understanding your personality and self-help belonged in this kumbaya shit bucket that I didn't want anything to do with. It was so eye-opening for us, for both me and her, to understand the team and how they work, and that every time we hired someone, we made them do the Enneagram personality test, just so we knew who they were. Because the Enneagram also tells you, I sound like an ad for the for the test now, but it tells you how you are to work with, how you like to be communicated to, how you communicate. And so we just understood each other better. But not all entrepreneurs have that luxury in the beginning. Like, right now with my current business, I will take whoever I can who will come and be cheap, because that's the stage we're at, right? So there's just different levels of growth, of building culture, of building understanding, of building awareness. There is no solution or rule book or guidebook or, culture in a box sort of fix, right?
Zahra, I've always said to people, doing what I do for a living and building all my businesses, when you look at the successful entrepreneurs out there and the successful businesses, they come up with 5 areas. I call them the 5 Ps, stand for people, product, process, get paid. And the last one I get a lot of pushback on is passion or purpose. Now, I believe if you're passionate and you have purpose behind what you do, the money will come, you can make it work. But a lot of people disagree with me. And let me give you an example. I had a recent comment that was sent to me on one of my social media platforms that says, I'm a Subway owner. I do not have passion behind making sandwiches. I'm just doing it to get the bills paid, but I'm an entrepreneur. Does that work? Does it actually happen where people are just doing a business like it's a job and that's
Yes.
all it is? And what do they do then? They're going to be in a dead end situation, possibly for the rest of their lives, if they don't have any purpose or passion.
Maybe for you, maybe for me, but I don't think passion and purpose are the same thing. So that Subway owner that you're talking about has purpose, right? That Subway owner's purpose is to make business, to make money. That's all they want. They don't want a sexy business. They want stability. They want safety. They want security. They want a steady income. And that's what they're doing. And that's their purpose. That's what they want. Everybody's passion is different. Everybody's purpose is different. I love the Japanese concept of purpose, because it says that your purpose is at the center of 4 things. Similar to what you just said. It's what you can be paid for, what the world needs, what you have passion for, and what you're good at, right? So I don't think they're separate. That's your purpose. Passion is one piece of the puzzle. Like a lot of times we do a disadvantage to our kids when we tell them to follow their passion, because their passion might be acting. They might never make money at acting, and it might be disappointing for them, and they might feel like a failure, right? So yes, they have passion for that, but that's not their purpose. Some people purely start businesses to make money, and that's okay too.
So Zahra, you kicked off with a fantastic business here in my home city. Tell me a bit more about your first business.
So my first business was Foundry Communication. And, when I first graduated, so I went back to school with 3 kids, because when I immigrated to Canada, I didn't have a degree. I went to art school because I didn't think I was really that smart or able to do anything more than go to art school, which is what I did. And then I discovered this thing called graphic design and fell madly in love, and built my first agency. And I built it because I worked for someone, and I just didn't like how they did things. I didn't like how they dealt with clients, how they dealt with employees, how they dealt with art, and design. And I just wanted to do it differently. We made over $1 million our first year in business. It was fun. It was exciting. I think that was my passion business. My current business is my purpose business, which is, really interesting. But it was an incredible amount of fun, but also really challenging. And it's challenging because, like I said, the cyclical nature of the economy, and how marketing budgets change. So we were purely a branding business. And within 10 years, the market changed so much to be a digital landscape. And I had to make a decision at that point. Did I want to pivot and embrace that or not? And I decided not, and sold my business and started building other businesses as a consultant until I found what I wanted to do.
One of the reasons why I've been drawn to follow Zahra has been that one piece that she just said. When she was working for someone, she saw that there was a lot of issues, errors. It may not have been as great as that could be done out in the market. And so she wanted to create something in the market that was done differently. That connected me to Zahra right off the get-go. I can tell you that because both of us in our early parts of our career started off working under someone saying, I think we can do a better job.
Mm-hmm.
You have a business called Skillit. Let's talk about that for a bit. What's Skillit, and why did you bring it out to the world?
Oh my gosh. So Skillit is a business that I've been trying to launch for 6 years, and very different. My first company was a service business. It depended on my talent. This is completely different. So first of all, there was this massive learning curve of building a tech platform, of learning to raise money, of doing all the things that I never did before. So we wanted to teach skills, specifically soft skills, but we wanted to do them in a live in-person setting because it's the best way to learn. And so we launched the business to coincide with the launch of my book in January 2020. And then we all know what happened in March of 2020. And the world had no need of a live in-person skill building business.
Yeah.
And so I spent the next 2 years reframing the business, trying to understand, how do we make this viable? And it's now an edutainment company. So we are entertainment first, learning second. And we changed target audience. So my target audience is families. So for example, we'll take a family out into the desert and teach them survival skill. We have cooking classes. We have carpentry classes. A carpenter will come and build a doghouse with you and your family. So you have a total fun afternoon, but then you also are left with this doghouse or a salad garden, or, so it's all learning skills, both hard and soft, and also first entertainment. And so had to revamp the business, decided instead of building on a third-party platform, which is where we started, to actually build the technology. We finished our soft launch early this summer. We are now in the process of launching this week, our hard launch in Las Vegas. So, but man, it was so different, like just a service business versus a product business, just completely different in understanding, in how you build the business, what you need, what you do. So yeah, it's been a challenge.
When you look at other business owners that you've spoken to, many of them will appear to be successful. they'll have awards, accolades, but when you get a chance to look at their financials, it's a fucking disaster. They're not making profit, but yet they're this great entrepreneur. They're not growing their business. But they're considered to be a great entrepreneur. How important is financials, and what skill set, since we're talking about Skillit, do entrepreneurs and business owners have to know when it comes to their financials?
So I have a line in all my speeches that I do. Like, I have slides, and one of my slides, it says very clearly, fake it until you make it. And your financials play a huge part in your success, but you do what you need to do to get to that success. There were times when I was in Calgary. You know how Calgary is a very cyclical, oil and gas, and marketing is, I owned a marketing agency. Marketing is the first thing they cut when the economy is bad, right? There was months where I did not know if I could pay salaries.
Yeah.
Right. Because every time the phone rang after a downward turn, it would be like, Zahra, I am so sorry, but we have to pull our marketing budget. You just have to go with it. You have to do what you need to do. Yeah, your financials might suck, but you were a smart entrepreneur that got to this stage. You clearly have the desire and the passion, and you will come out of it. But that doesn't mean that I need to announce to the world and say, you know what, we're really struggling right now. So again, no hard, fast rules. You build your business how you need to build your business, right?
There are key things that everybody on this show gives to entrepreneurs out there. Give me 3 pieces of advice that you'd like to leave with these entrepreneurs that will help them over the next 12 months and 12 years.
12 months and 12 years, 3 key pieces of advice. That's a great question. It's usually one.
Yep. One's easy. We can do one. Let's try doing 3.
Well, I can probably come up with 3. Number 1, believe in yourself. I know that sounds easy, but it is hard. It is hard to fake it until you make it sometimes, right? It's hard to do that because you have to have a firm belief in yourself in order to do that. You will make mistakes. You will fail. You will fall. There will be challenges along the way. Believing in yourself is what's going to allow you to overcome those hurdles. Number 2 is find your team and your people. You will never, ever do this alone. There are things that entrepreneurs like to say that I wear 10 hats. Well, probably 6 of those hats you should not wear because you're not good at that thing, right? So find the team that will help you get there because, for example, I am the ideas person, right? I am not the detail person. Meg is my COO. She is the head down. I want to deal with the insurance company, Zahra. Whereas for me, I want to stick a knife in my eye if I even have to talk to them, right? So that's kind of the difference. Find your people, find your team. That's number 2. And number 3, have passion and have purpose because they're different. Your passion is the thing that is fun for you, the thing that you want to do, that is exciting, that gets you out of bed in the morning. Your purpose is why you were put on this earth, what you're meant to do, what you want to achieve, what you want the end goal to be. So have both.
Zahra, you've said you'd fake it till you make it. Well, you've definitely made it, not only once, but you're going to do it again and again and again. Zahra, thank you so much for joining us today.
Awesome.
Thank you for watching the Karmali Exchange. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. You can also follow me on social media at Faisal Karmali, where we can continue the business conversation.